Hello, everybody. My name is Mario Luna, and this is a new episode of Consciousness in Evolution. An interview today is with Tatiana Mota, and Consciousness in Evolution is brought to you by Representation International, an institution specialized in conscientiological re-education. A quick reminder, people, give us a like and subscribe to the channel in case you haven't, and feel free to send your questions in at any time during the talk. And talking about the talk today, it's important to raise some intriguing questions that our conversations will possibly give you, which is, where was I before I was born? What was I doing? Why this country? Why this family? And why this life? What is intraphysical brain fog? How can I remember my life mission? What I'm doing here? But Tatiana Martin is just about to answer these and other questions because today we'll be talking about lives between lives. Welcome, Tatiana.
Hello, Mario. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Very nice, Tatiana. I would start with introduction to our talk, right? We know that after we leave this physical world, we will spend some time in extra physical world, all right, which is also called a spiritual world. We have some time there before we get reborn. But there is a question I'd like to know. What is exactly this intermissive period?
That's a good question for a start. So, when we research lives, um, the time before we are born and this lifetime, it's actually one whole thing, Mario, because we are consciousnesses and we just live sometimes in the extra physical dimensions and sometimes in the intraphysical dimension like we are now. The only difference in terms of manifestation on how we live and act and connect with others is that in the extra physical dimensions we don't have this physical body. That's the main difference. But we are still acting and living and thinking the same way we are now. And sometimes even more accurately, with more lucidity than we are now. So the intermissive period is the period between lives, intraphysical lives like this one, human lives. So when we have this intraphysical life and we pass away, we die, we are going to discard this physical body, right? And that's when we sort of return or go back to the extra physical dimensions. We start living and manifesting, having our lives in the extra physical dimension. So this is when we start the intermissive period, the period between lives, let's say.
All right, and the time that we spend right between lives depends or varies from person to person, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. There are a few differences, basic differences that I will explain to you now. So let's imagine that when we discard the physical body, we start expressing ourselves and living and acting in the extra physical dimensions. This is another way of living, another way of interacting. Not that we are going to change, but the environment, the energy, the more subtle environments are different. So we actually need to learn how or regain the lucidity to actually interact in these dimensions, just the way we learned how to live this life, right? When we were born, we were babies. We didn't speak. We didn't walk. We needed 100 like percent support all the time. So when we start living in the extra physical dimensions, a similar things happen. It doesn't mean that we are going to become babies extra physically. That's not what I mean. But in terms of how our brain and our consciousness manifests or acts and produces uh, knowledge and understanding of things needs to be um, um, changed as well. So, and then I come to the differences. So, some people, when they pass away, when they die, when they discard the physical body,
Hmm.
they don't have the awareness of this change. And this happens, to be honest, with most of people who pass away. Okay, we
Yes.
don't, many times we are not aware of uh, this moment of passage, let's say. The main issue in this case, why can't we be aware? Why don't people are aware of this change? Just because most of the times they are still energetically connected to this life, this body, and they are not aware of that. Imagine that in this moment now we have the physical body that we see, right?
Hmm.
We use it all the time, but we also have other bodies, and one of them that we also use and feel and connect is the energetic body. With this body is just like the physical body, but with other features, let's say, and it's the main glue, let's say, that connects us, the consciousness, with this intraphysical body and material life, the intraphysical life. And once we discard the physical body, we die. It's time as well for us to disconnect this energy, to clean up. But this happens in different paces depending on the person. The
Hmm.
less energy that you have that is connected to this body, the more aware and lucid you are in the extra physical dimensions, because these dimensions are more subtle. Mario, I don't know if you have experienced that. When you have a dream, you sort of like know you are dreaming, but you are not very lucid. You are sort of
Yes.
like sleeping, things are slow. You have an idea that you are experiencing something, but you are not actually active and proactive and making decisions. It's sort of like a little blurry. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, sure. I have.
So it's sort of like the same thing,
Hmm.
but we are not dreaming. We just, when we actually discarded the physical body, we are experiencing living in another, a more subtle dimension.
Hmm.
And we need to learn how to actually live and interact in a different way. So, to
Hmm.
answer your question, there are many different ways of experiencing these extra physical dimensions when we die. Many people are not going to be very lucid. They are going to feel as if they were still alive, because we are,
Sure.
but they
Yeah.
are not aware that they are living in a different dimension, a more subtle dimension that has different ways of living, of interacting, of using the more subtle body that we have and not the physical body. For example, we don't need to eat anymore. We don't need to drink anymore. If we are more lucid, we don't need to open our mouths to speak anymore, because we have this kind of telepathic communication. But if you are not aware, you are going to feel hungry. You are going to look for food. You are going to look for water. You are going to speak with your mouth without needing it. So the more lucid we are, which means the less dense energy we have with us, once we pass away, we die, the more aware we are going to be of this new reality and obviously connect with it with more lucidity, right?
Yes, that's right. And it's very good for you to say that and start actually our talk, because the point of our conversation today is actually the intensive course, which is the second chapter of our conversation, right? But the first one is definitely how to die well. That's a very interesting thing because people connect death with something really terrible, right? And this is possibly the way that they get so traumatized after they die, right? So, but what we're saying is it we don't have actually an average length of time for one person to be in the extra-physical environment after the soma or the disposal of the physical body, right? There isn't an average length of time. It varies a lot, right, from person to person. And also the way this person is in terms of awareness. Is that okay?
Yes, exactly. That's it.
It may take like 100 years, right?
Yeah.
There, when you are not aware of it.
There is something interesting, Mario, that this, as you mentioned, this time frame, it depends. It really depends on. It's just like how we are in this lifetime. We don't know how long we are going to live.
Yes.
Some people they live 30 minutes. They are babies and they die for some reason. And some people live 110 years already. So it's sort of like the same, depends on the own consciousness evolutionary path and other conditions, right? But what we can say from what we have been researching throughout all these years in conscientology, and it's not only myself, not only you, it's a group of people who have researching the evolution of the consciousness for decades.
Hmm.
And we see some patterns. So once we are more aware, more lucid, and we are able to make the most of our lives when we are born. And
Right.
when I say to make the most of our lives, it means evolutionary, in an evolutionary way. Then we might spend more time in the extra physical dimensions before we are born to prepare ourselves better. It feels like a plan, a strategy, a project that we need to create and to see all the details, all the minimal pros and cons, the things that could happen, how we are going to react with any issues that happen. So this needs more preparation. So usually people who are more aware, more lucid, and who want to
Hmm.
create change, to create a difference, to make a difference, and to evolve, obviously, they spend more time preparing themselves. Now, how long, right? It also depends. It could be 5 years. So some people spend 5 years between lives, and they actually are able to prepare themselves for a new life um, well. But in average, through our research, and it's not only myself, because the research, the theory of the intensive course, which is the theme of my book, is a theory proposed by Dr. Valdo Vieira,
Hmm.
who was who proposed the science conscientology and projectiology as well. But what has been his research in this point is, as an average, people spend between 15 and 30 years um, in between intraphysical lives, in the extra physical dimensions, in the intermissive period, before they are born again. This is an average. And but I invite you and everyone who is watching to have a think. In their case, how long do you think you have spent in the extra physical dimensions before you're born? That's a good question, right?
Yes. That's very good. And let me just start another topic because now we are going more specifically to the topic of your book, which is, let me just show here, people, uh, this book, Intensive Course, Tatiana Mota. Have you prepared yourself for the challenges of human life? Tatiana, this book is the best scenario for someone after he leaves this physical world. I mean, instead of being totally fogged, unaware of what's going on, confused, thinking that I'm still in this physical world, haunting places, right? So if I get this evolutionary step one level up, so and then say, okay, so maybe I can do something different, and I cross over, right, to something beyond this physical world, not to be trapped here. So we have the chance, right, of having an intensive course. Now I go for the next question. When one is eligible for an intensive course, and what is an intensive course?
Good question. So let's start from the beginning, right?
Sure.
Let's imagine you, whoever is watching you, Mario as well. You are living your life here, and there is the moment that will come to everyone that we are going to die, right? We are going to die, and we are going to live, continue our lives in the extra physical dimensions. Maybe you are going to be aware and lucid and look back and, and think, oh, that was a good life. It was positive. I'm moving on. I'm not going to be attached to that life anymore. What is coming? What is next? You're going
Yes.
to be looking forward, right? Let's imagine that it doesn't happen the same with me. I die and I'm gonna be thinking like, oh, my partner, my life, I miss it. I wanna go back. I don't wanna experience anything new. I don't want to look forward. So this happens with it really depends, right?
Sure.
But once we go through the what we call the second death or second desoma, it means that we discarded those energies from the previous life, the last one, as I had just mentioned before, right? So once we are cleaner in terms of the weight, the energy of that previous life, and all the connections, you start to be more aware. This is the first prerequisite, let's say, for you to apply for some kind of education, right? Some kind of training.
Yeah.
And that's when we get to the intensive course. So the intensive course is a specialized extra physical training that includes a set of disciplines. And
Yeah.
I can talk about these disciplines if you want to later on. But these disciplines are taught in innovative ways.
Hmm.
It's not just like, the school we go here and there is like a blackboard or a whiteboard and you take notes and all that. But they are innovative ways to teach and to learn during this period. And what is the objective? What is the goal of this kind of training? The main objective of the intensive course is to build capacity for people to plan and create that strategy that I mentioned before, for them to, when they are reborn again,
Hmm.
they have a plan which we call the proaxis, an existential program.
Right.
So an existential program is the let's say the result of this training of the intensive course. So, and who has the prerequisites? The first prerequisite, as I mentioned before, is having this lucidity, not being connected to the previous lives or the interphysical body or the energies that you carried when you decimated, when you passed away.
You had to cross over to
Exactly,
have it.
exactly. You need to be like, I'm looking forward. I understand the process.
Hmm.
I understand that now I'm living in a different dimension, other, it's another situation, and I'm not uh, nostalgic or connected
Yeah.
or in any
Trapped in
way.
this physical world, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The second thing, the second requisite, I would say it is having a good level of self coherence in terms of what we call cosmoethics. So, having principles and a level of values and ethics that is, let's say, 51%
Sure.
of this coherence of less focus on your ego, on yourself, on your gains,
Hmm.
but having a broad uh, understanding of the world, of people. So this is important. So, when you have previous lives where you were able to connect with people positively, help people, make a difference. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying huge things.
Sure.
It could be for as a prerequisite for your first intensive course, just having this 51% of positive background in your previous lives, and the lucidity, obviously, to do that. And the third thing that I would say that would be a prerequisite is the will,
Yeah.
the person actually wanting to get a training. When you have a young person and you are their parent and you say, okay, time to go to university. What are you going to do in your life? Time to be a grown up. And the kid is like, no, I don't want to study. I don't want to go to uni. I just want to party.
Yes.
Depending on the family, they are going to be forced and they will go to the university anyway.
Yeah.
But in terms of evolution, it doesn't happen like that.
Sure.
We need to have the will to. We have to want to, because the intensive course is not for the weak ones. That's what I like to say. If you are weak, if you're not strong, if you don't have will, if you're not able to face challenges and change, the intensive course is not for you. And we can talk about that as well. But in summary, I would say these three things, Mario. Having discarded these energies from previous lives, have at least 51% of a positive background in the past with ethics, positive interactions with people, and the third one, actually want to.
Very good. And one common question is, because we're talking about intensive course, so one might think, and so what? Have I had an intensive course? Did I have this intensive course in my last intensive period or not? So the question is, how can one find out whether they had it or not? This is a
Okay,
very good question, right? It's a
it's
common doubt,
a
right?
great question.
Yeah. Did I have this?
When I was young, I had this question all the time in my mind.
Yes. Me too.
Even when I wasn't aware that of all this reality, I had this intuition But I was always asking myself, where did I come from? This is not my life only. There should be something else. What is it? Where I used to be very nostalgic when I was a kid. I had this missing feeling, and and it happened usually at the same time in the same place when I was in the swimming pool, just like, lying down there in the water, looking up, and I started to have this nostalgic feeling all the time. And I was like 6 years old. I don't know. I was a kid. So many of us might feel that as well. We might feel that this life is not enough. Just having the Easter lunch with family and eating a lot and having drinks, and then the day's over, and then you work, and then you get married, you have kids, and then you retire and you wait for the life to end. Many people question that. They don't get it. They don't buy it. They feel there is something else. So for these people, we might suggest that they should research whether they've had an intensive course or not, if they have some kind of preparation before they were born, if they have a mission, if they have a purpose, if they have a proexis, right? But let's say that there is one way that is technical, that is scientific, and that helps us actually check whether we have had an intensive course or not before we were born. And this is what we call the intermissive test, or the
Mhm.
test of the
That's good.
intermissivist test.
That must be
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah.
So the intermissivist test is a set of 10 questions that you read, you think, and you answer, that you give you indications to whether or not you have prepared yourself and studied in the intensive courses before you were born. So these questions were actually the foundation of my book. My book is based on this test and helps everyone, even people who have no knowledge of conscientiology, to think and reflect about their own experiences, traits, insights, feelings, to help them make this assessment, self assessment. So the questions are based on one chapter of treatise called 700 Experiments of Conscientiology. And this was written by Dr. Valdo Vieira. And on this chapter, there are 10 topics that help people think and reflect, that will give some indication whether they have done the intensive course or not.
Hmm.
So, for example, some of the questions are related to uh, the conviction, the self conviction, the intimate conviction that this life is not only that. People who have the conviction that they are a consciousness, they are spiritual beings, that this physical body is not only themselves, that there is something else. And nobody told them that. It's just in it. They have this feeling and this conviction that they are more than this physical body. So, this is one of the topics. You see?
I see. Yeah.
Some people have the conviction that they have a mission in life and that they need to fulfill that. They need to put this into action. This is another topic. So,
I
these things are the topics. Some Another one is related to the other bodies of the consciousness. So most of people, if you walk on the street, they say, oh, this is my body and that's me, I am this, and when I die everything is over, so let's party, let's enjoy life while we can. But for some people, they know the body is not only is not enough. They feel the energies. They step into a room and they feel the energy interacting with them. Sometimes the energies are great. They go walking into the bush and they feel invigorated. But sometimes they walk into a room in the shopping center
Mhm.
and they feel drained, and they know this is related to the energies. Sometimes people have an out of body experience and they know they are not dreaming. That's real. It's them. They are thinking. They are more lucid. They look at their bed and they see the physical body and they understand the whole thing. It's real. It's not imagination. They are not on drugs. They are not drunk. And they see they are not taking medication. And that's 100% real. They are aware, they have the awareness, and they know that it's I'm not the physical body. This is obvious.
Yeah.
So this is another topic of the intermissivist tests. So with these 10 questions, it helps people to gauge whether they have these traits of someone who has prepared themselves before they were born. And we can talk more about this if you want.
Yes, we have a question here for you from Anyogan. Anna, thank you for your question. Why don't you remember what we planned before?
Ah, that's a good question.
That's a
And
good
that makes me so angry sometimes.
question. Yeah.
So there are some interesting things I to think about. Okay, um, the evolutionary process is a process uh, that is way more complex than we can understand with our little brain, interphysical brain. So the evolutionary process is created, it's what we call a maxi mechanism, which is mega, super intelligent, organized and managed, coordinated by consciousnesses who are way, way, way more evolved than we are. And and when we have this process of evolution where we are in the extra physical dimension and then we are born again in this lifetime, in the human life, and then we die, we go to extra physical dimensions again and reborn. So there is a process of dimensions. And the obvious answer to this question, which is the first point, is when we are reborn, we start using or manifesting ourselves through this intraphysical body. And this body has uh, some characteristics that are part of it.
Sure.
So we are born, we are babies, our brains are still being developed. We have to learn again how to live. This is the first thing. So we are uh, part of it. So for obvious reasons, we don't have the lucidity. However, when we start growing up and developing our body, the brain, the physical body, we have the possibility of regaining uh, this information
Mhm.
from who we are, where we come from, and most of people, they don't have this awareness, not because they can't do it, but because they don't. they don't have references. They don't have prepared themselves. They sometimes were passed away. They died in a life
Mhm.
before, and they were not aware. They had all these energies, and then they were reborn again. No lucidity at all. But for those who are more aware, and those who have they know they have a plan. They know they have a mission. Many times when they are around 7 years old, 10 years old, they start thinking, and sometimes they have images in their minds, or they dream, they have out of body experiences, interacting with people they don't know who they are, but they have affinity with them.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have experienced that, Mario. You have an out of body experience, so sometimes you're just not very lucid. You think you had a dream, and you are talking to people, and people talking to you, and you're great friends with them, but when you wake up, you're like, who are they? Who are they? I
It's
have no
very
idea who they are.
Yeah, it's very common. And I usually say that there are more people that we love and that we interact with in the extra-physical environment than in the intra-physical environment. I think so. Why? Because our relationships transcend this physical world, and we might find people from other retro lives that we had in the past. So I think that the population of friends in the extra physical world is larger than the one we have here. But I have another question. I don't know if you finished the first answer
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
question from Aniliosa, right?
yeah, just to close that. So the main reason, the basic reason why we can't remember what we have planned before is the restriction of the brain and the physical body when
Mhm.
we are born. And but this we have techniques to regain
I see.
this
Very good. Very
consciousness,
good.
right? This lucidity.
Very nice, Tatiana. We have another question from Eliani. Eliani, thank you for the question. What if we plan to do some things with a group of people and depend on each other to accomplish it, but these people don't show up? Uh-oh,
Yeah, this happens, right?
that's right.
This
It's not your
happens.
fault. Is it your fault? This
Um,
is a personal question.
That's another very good question, right? So, usually in the intensive courses, when we plan our life or coming upcoming life,
Mhm.
and we think about strategies and how we are going to make this project happen. Usually, these projects in the intensive courses that end up in an existential program, a proexis, a mission, they are not only my project.
Mhm.
They are a group project. They are bigger projects that will benefit society, that will benefit humankind, mankind, and that depend on multiple actors, right? Multiple people. So before we are born, usually in the intensive course, we have the training, we learn skills, we have the process of self awareness, so study ourselves as well in the intensive courses. And we have moments of group interaction where we plan, look, Mario, you are going to do this, and I am committed to do that. You do your part, I'll do my part. Eliane, you're going to do your part. Anna, you're going to do your part. So once we get together in moments in life, we can make this big project happen and be successful. So from the question, we can say, what if we had this plan before we were born? And let's say, Mario, you are doing what all the things you had planned with me and Anna and Eliane. Eliane is doing her part, Anna is doing her part, but me, I'm not. I just am living my life, I'm partying, I'm just not aware. I didn't regain this consciousness. Maybe I had a lot of mental health issues. I went into drugs, or you name it. I became a workaholic, just
Yes.
focused on my work and making money. And I totally forgot my commitment with this group. So, and then what happens, right? This is the question.
Yes.
For you guys who are working on this project and you are up to date, there is some change, right? There is some change because one piece of that mechanism is not there anymore. So how can we do to reorganize the tasks
Hmm.
whenever possible to make the most of whoever is working on the project? So there are some changes, and there are natural changes in life.
A
Some,
reaccommodation, right? Kind of.
yes, exactly. And how do you do that? You can do it instinctively, instinctively, right? Through within the group, reorganizing the tasks and the project. There are also extra physical helpers who are these consciousnesses who have more awareness and lucidity and are more evolved in a way that are helping as well with this mega project. So they will inspire people. Maybe they will bring other people who have the skills to help as well. And for me, who am totally lost in the world, I'm not doing my part. I'm not doing my part.
Sure.
I'm not giving my contribution. I didn't show up.
Exactly.
So in this case, I will probably be behind. I might later in life have more awareness of that and change my life and recycle many things in my life and try to get back to my plan if I'm aware of that. This happens as well. So it really depends, right? But one thing is 100%, I could say it's 100% that will probably happen,
Yeah.
is that not everyone that has planned this project together, they are now active and aware and working on it 100%.
Yeah.
Because life has multiple
Sure.
variables, right? We plan as much as we can with all these details, but sometimes the bathroom breaks. Did you see now the people who are going to the moon? They've planned this huge trip to the moon for
Definitely. Yeah.
years, decades,
Yes.
minimal planning with everything. And then when they are there, the bathroom breaks, the toilet breaks, and they have to
Yeah.
fix it. There are so many variables to think in big projects, but something always breaks.
Yeah.
Someone
Sure.
always gets lost. Someone is That's life. But
Yeah.
the thing is, get this back to ourselves first. What am I not doing that I had committed myself to do? I think this is a good question for all of us. What have I planned and that I'm not doing, that I'm not accomplishing? And the second thing, um, if I feel that my team, my project has gaps, people are not coming, people are missing, what can I do first to reorganize that? Is there anything else that I could do? And the most important thing, is there something that I'm not doing to allow this person to come, to feel that they belong here? Am I pushing them away instead of bringing them in? And what can I do to change that? Right?
Yes. And this is a bit complex because sometimes if we are a group of people that we arrange to do something together, some member of this group might take longer to get connected, right? So The group may start it, and then this person might get a bit longer to get back on track. Not back on track, because actually the person hadn't got on track. So they are getting on track later. But I have another question, Tatiana, just to make your life a bit harder here in this conversation. All right. Uh, yeah, it's, you know what? Because sometimes it occurs me to think about this, right? How can I be sure that I'm living the life I plan it, or I'm drift away? Am I
I
living the
would,
life I planned, or I am drifted away? This is another question.
yeah. In short, I would say there are two main things. Okay. The first thing is that you feel your life is dynamic.
Hmm.
Your life is dynamic. You are being challenged. You challenge yourself. You are not just sitting on the couch and watching TV or watching series, binging. um, but this happens as well, but it's not the only that. Sometimes you have a very busy life, but you are not challenging yourself. You are not recycling yourself. You are not reinventing yourself. So I would say the first aspect of a life that is aligned with a pre planned mission or project, with an intensive course, right?
Hmm.
Is this dynamics. Life is dynamic. You have challenges. You put yourself into situations that will allow you to step out of your comfort zone.
Right.
This happens uh, every now and then. It's not
True.
just like once every 10 years, once every 20 years. And this has to do also with relationships. So you are not only connected to a little group, your own family, your own friends, your own um, colleagues from work or from projects, you are meeting people from multiple backgrounds. You are dealing with different lives, with different um, um, visions, different values, and you are able to navigate these different dimensions,
Yeah.
of interactions, and have a positive balance, not only negative. You interact with multiple differences, and you are okay interacting with them.
Yes,
This
and
is
it's
the first thing.
important. Okay, sorry.
And the,
Okay, go ahead.
and the second thing I would say is the feeling, the internal feeling that you are connected to something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you are, you might be in the grocery store doing buying your food, but you feel the connection. And this connection has to do with this maxi mechanism that I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you are grocery shopping and there is a moment of interaction and assistance, and you are proactive in that situation. When you don't have this sense of connection with something bigger, with this maxi mechanism, you're just living your life. So when you are connected, you are proactive. When you are proactive, you challenge yourself. When you challenge yourself, you step out of your comfort zone. And this is a dynamics that never ends. So I would say these two.
Very nice. And what we plan actually has to do with our evolutionary path, right? It's always something evolutionary. We cannot plan, for example, to be a celebrity and rich.
Okay, that's a good question. So the in terms of the intensive course, the main goal of the intensive course is to help you and me, whoever takes it, to evolve, to go to the next level. to step into a next level of awareness, lucidity, impact, change in ourselves and in the society, in the environment we interact in, right?
Right.
How you are going to do that depends on your background, on your history, on your whole biography, as we say, the biography of all your lives. Whether you are going to be a celebrity or not, this is secondary. Could it be? Yes. But what is the aim? It's not the end, it's not the main objective. You will have some visibility for a reason. What is the reason? What you have planned before. So it's not only the visibility of a celebrity, for example, but what you are going to do with that visibility that you will achieve.
Mm.
What is the impact? What is the change? What is the cultural uh, change that you will create with your presence, with your ideas, with your innovation? That's it. So it could be how you're going to fulfill that. It could be in any way,
I see.
but it's going to really depend on you, on your background, on your skills, your talents, and the piece of the project that you took, right? Some people are great at communication, so they are going to be the communicators in that project. Some people are great at creativity, at new ideas, at creating theories. So they are going to pick this piece of the project. And that's why I think the theory of the intermissive course and the praxis is fascinating because it has to do with our best traits, right?
Yes, definitely. We have one more question from Anna. And this is more, this is what we are talking about right now, right? What may be the consequences of evading the plan developed in the intensive course?
So, from research and from, I would say, many experiences from myself and from other researchers as well, it doesn't, it's it's not rare. It's not rare for this to happen, right? Because as I mentioned before, life has many challenges, and obviously we plan everything the best we can, but sometimes life is different than we had planned. So this sort of happens quite uh, often. And what would the consequences be? I would say, in practical terms, for the person who is out of track, as you mentioned, Mario, is the sense of not being part of anything,
Mm.
is the feeling of your life being useless. And when it's carried on throughout years and years and decades, people start feeling they are losers.
Hmm.
They are they lose their self-esteem. They start getting some sort of many different sorts of mental health issues, depression, and then they find um, ways to live their lives that is not the best way. So these would be practical consequences of you being out of your plan. Because remember, a proaxis, a mission, a life mission, is not is I'm not talking here about the mission that we sometimes have in this sort of like more mystical or religious way, that someone comes, some more evolved consciousness comes and say, look, Mario, you're going to be reborn, so I'm telling you, you need to do this and this and that. It's going to be hard, but you have to do it, otherwise you're going to have consequences, so go and do it. In terms of the more evolved, the more adult, the more mature you are, you don't need that. external input. It's you and your reasoning and your intellect and your awareness. You make the decisions of what you're going to face in your life. You have chosen the family that you were born on purpose. There is a purpose. Oh, but my family, no, 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 you are lying. My family, I am an alien in my family. There is a reason.
Yeah.
So you haven't chosen the place you were born, the family, the the life that you live just out of the blue. There is a reason for that. And you have chosen that. So when you evade the plan that you have developed, there is inside of you that red flag, the alarm. And that's why you feel so depressed sometimes, and that you are not doing what you have to do. And this is not, again, this is not something that you say, or that you say to yourself. It's not like, oh, I'm not doing what I had planned. I'm evading the plan. I'm horrible. It's not like that. It's the feeling. It's that taste, the bitter taste in your mouth. It's that waking up in the morning with that sensation, the moral, ethical hangover that makes you feel horrible to wake up in the next day. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is the feeling of having a life devoid of meaning, right? Which produces this kind of feeling. Very good. Just once again, I think that we have more questions. Ah, that's right. Just 1 second here. Um, okay, once again, I would like to show Tatiana's book, which is Intensive Course: How You Prepare Yourself for the Challenges of Human Life. Tatiana, the person can find this book on Amazon, right? Or
Yes.
editaris, right? So it's just, if you type Intensive Course Tatiana Mota and you can add book, then you find the places you can buy this book elsewhere, right? It's a very good book, very nice topic, Tatiana. I would just like to highlight also the event that is happening this May in Kennesaw, Georgia, USA, the Intermissive Meeting North America, right? Connecting intermissivists beyond borders. It's an event that will take place from May 8 to 10, right? The price of the event is $150. The information you have with its two emails, elian.voslao@representation.org or adriana.piris@revelation.org, right? So, very nice, Tatiana. Your conclusions for our conversation today about this topic, intermissive meeting, no, intermissive course. I'm sorry, intermissive course. Let's correct here in time.
Yes. I would say like, if I could give a message to everyone, I would say, think about your best traits, your best talents, your greatest talents, your superpowers, and think about how you can create change with your presence wherever you are. Create create change with your presence. I think this is the main thing. Sometimes we create a huge uh, thing when we think about a mission and a plan, what I have planned, what I haven't, am I doing, am I not doing, what I'm lost. And it creates such a huge thing in our minds, that it's not necessary. Just use your best traits, challenge yourself, and create change wherever you are. You're going to um, find yourself somewhere out there, right? And that's it. And Mario, thank you so much for the opportunity. For you and for any of you who are watching, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My email is in the book. And I'm more than happy to answer any other questions related to the Intermissive Course if you need.
Very nice. We thank you, Tatiana, for coming to Consciousness and Evolution. Very nice talk. I loved it. We could spend the whole afternoon. I have lots of questions about this topic because this is actually the most important thing, right? That we have in life. What am I supposed to do here? And this question might involve what we can do nicely, right? What we can do, what we can offer for the other, so it makes our life meaningful. Very nice, Athena. Very nice indeed. Thank you for your participation, people. This is the end of this episode. I see you in the next Consciousness and Evolution. Bye bye.